So welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. I've got a warm sweater on here tonight. My Scottish sweater. It's not for props. It's a little on the cool side. So I do a lot of research when I'm not doing videos. And let's face it, in the summer we're busy doing stuff outside. It's not as motivating as it is in the winter months to do these videos and these topics. So we probably do fewer of them, at least I do, because there's just so many other things that get in the way. But in a lot of the research I do, and I do wander around with my research, I'm looking at whiskeys from all over the world. I'm looking at whiskeys from Canada, I'm looking at bourbon down the States there. I'm looking at whiskeys in India and in Taiwan and in Australia, throughout Europe. I mean, it's interesting what's going on right now. And of course, it all started in Scotland. And so my research always seems to wander back to Scotland, somehow it ends up back there. And so, I'm reading an online magazine that I do read quite a bit. It's really grown in the last year, DRAMFACE. And DRAMFACE actually has, they give you the opportunity to vote what you think are the top 10 distilleries. And so, I put my vote in, you put your vote in, we get everybody putting their top 10 in, and eventually we get a list of the top 40 distilleries. And so, I'm reading through this and I'm looking through it. And it was interesting, though I think when I first looked at it, I found it quite interesting. And then, I thought, geez, after a while, it'd be kind of neat to kind of put your own little list together. And there's several reviewers that have done that, by the way. Well, after 5 days of indulging myself in this and rewriting this list probably 5 times, videoing twice and not happy with the videos, too long, too much information. This is a small portion of what I have, so trying to go through all my stuff and look at it and trying to get a reflection of what I remember from the distilleries they come from. Going back to Scotland during my trip and looking at some of the distilleries that I did tour, we saw a lot of distilleries. And all the research I've done on these distilleries, because nowadays you can do a virtual tour indoors with all the different reviewers that are doing tours, and there's sites like whiskey.com. There's just so many sites that do, they've done so many tours of these distilleries, and they are, showing you the distillery, etc. You know what? A lot of people out there have seen these distilleries on video. It is different when you're there, though. It is, because I can verify it. What I videoed in Scotland and what I experienced. Anyways, I think we should put together what we think the top 10 are. You can go on to the DRAMFACE top 10 and do your vote there. I did mine. So if I've still got your attention, and we're going to go after the top 10 as seen by the DRAMFACE top 10, and that's the top 10 votes. We are going to start there, and they've got Ardbeg as number 10 in the DRAMFACE voting, and we're now going to move to OSWA. Ralfy and Roy's creation, the online Scotch Whisky Awards. That's your vote again. And they picked Tobermory. That is, of course, Loch Ranza. And what did I pick? I picked number 10, Tobermory. So I'm in agreement. I look at Tobermory not so much for the Tobermory whiskey, more the Lechag. That's why I picked it. That's the one that really stands out to me. Tobermory, it's an okay whiskey, but it's really not something I would have placed if that was their only whiskey. I am a Lechag fan, so it's nice they've got that kind of variety, a little bit of lightly peated stuff, and then of course their regular Tobermory. But let's move on here, number 9. So we'll go back to DRAMFACE. So DRAMFACE picked for number 9, Ben Romack, the Gordon MacPhail Distillery. Got a chance to visit. What did OSWA, the OSWA votes, picked? They picked Glengyle. Well, Glengyle is also one that I got a chance to visit. And a small distillery. I think it only operates 3-4 months of the year there. What did I pick as number 9? Kilcolman. The Isla Farm Distillery that was at one time the newest distillery on Isla. Not today. There is a whole bunch of new distilleries being built. You got Port Ellen, Portaran up in the north end there. You've got Ardnahoe. There's a bunch anyways. So we're going to probably think of Kilcolman as a bit of an old timer pretty soon. Okay, let's move back to the DRAMFACE top 10 there. And now we're going to number 8, and that they voted in Tobermory, which we'd already gone through with the OSWA awards. What did OSWA have as number 8? Glen Scotia, another one that I got a chance to visit. And I picked Craig Gallachie, our first Speyside distillery. So Craig Gallachie, owned by John Doers, one of their distilleries, and of course like their whiskey. Got a chance to also see Craig Gallachie. Let's move on to number 7. So number 7 for the DRAMFACE top 10 that was voted number 7, Glen Scotia. And if we take a look at number 7 with the OSWA voting, it was Glen Allachie, Billy Walker's distillery. And what did I pick? I picked Ardbeg. Why Ardbeg? Another infamous Isla distillery, well known around the world. They might be old hat, and they might be, owned by, a large corporation, but still, I like what they're doing, with some of their whiskeys. Maybe they've got too many presentations, I don't know, but they still have got some class whiskeys. So I picked them as number 7. Let's go back to our DRAMFACE top 10 and see where we are at number 6, Glengyle. So Glengyle comes in as number 6 with DRAMFACE. We saw it there with, of course, the OSWA voting, but they picked number 6 as Bunnahabhain. And what did I pick as number 6? Glengyle. So I'm in agreement there with the DRAMFACE voting. Glengyle is about 100 yards, couple hundred yards next door to Springbank, so in Campbelltown. So anyways, I think it is it's been picked by all of us as a player. Very small distilleries, only producing 3-4 months a year or whatever. So, okay, let's move on. Number 5 with the DRAMFACE top 10, we have Lochranza, Isle of Arran. So Lochranza, number 5. Number 5 with the OSWA voting was Brookladdick. Water of Life movie. Fantastic movie. Pretty dear to that movie. Boy, if you get a chance, watch it. What did I pick as number 5? Brookladdick. So there you are. So let's move on to DRAMFACE. Their number 4 voting was Adnamercan, the new distillery, Adnamercan, Coastal Highland Distillery. Actually have a bottle of it right there, and it's had a lot of attention, Adnamercan, for a new distillery. Adelphi, the independent bottler, and number 4 with OSWA is also Adnamercan. So we see number 4 in agreement with those two votings. Both the I'm kind of wondering how much influence the OSWA had on the DRAMFACE voting. But anyways, they're both at number 4. Of course, the DRAMFACE is going to be more recent. It's an ongoing vote. So anyways, we're looking at Adnamercan placing number 4 on both of those. What do I have as number 4? Glen Scotia, which I got a chance to visit. So I picked Glen Scotia. Let's move on to number 3. So number 3 with DRAMFACE, Brookladdick. And number 3 with the OSWA was La Granza, Isle of Arran. And I picked La Granza, Isle of Arran. So number 2 with DRAMFACE, the vote had Brookladdick, number 2 distillery. We move over to the OSWA vote. It had Kilchoman as number 2. And I've got Bunnahabhain. So we are getting some kind of consistencies here. We're just kind of like this. But I think that's for me, would have been my choice probably a few years back too. So Bunnahabhain, number 2, famous for their on the Isle of Islay for their non-peated whiskeys, even though they do a short run of peated whiskeys. And I'm always a Bunnahabhain fan. Where are we going to go for number 1? Well, number 1 on DRAMFACE 40. I have a drum roll here. You probably know, if you've been watching this, you know it already. Springbank. Same with Ralfy and Roy. The voting there was on the OSWA. And by the way, it's not Ralfy and Roy that do the voting. It is you that do the voting. The same with DRAMFACE top 10. So Springbank. You know, it probably changed after I toured Springbank. I did the video tour, and I was just so impressed with not the outside. This is not a beautiful distillery. It's an old distillery, and it is doing the same thing it did 100 years ago. And what makes it beautiful is what they're doing inside. And I'm just really impressed with the way they make whiskey. So my top distillery pick, and maybe it's the same as what you voted, is the way they're doing their whiskey. But it was after I visited the distillery and I did a tour, and the beauty of what they're doing inside, not the beauty outside. Like you look at some distilleries, Blair Athol, beautiful looking when you enter Blair Athol, the 4 seasons of the ivy. You look at Strath Isla, beautiful when you walk into Strath Isla. When you walk towards Strath Isla, you walk around the grounds of Glen Grant, beautiful gardens. Tomore Distillery. I mean, it's a classified building. It's a piece of architecture, classy piece of architecture. But we're talking the top distillery. We're putting all those factors that create something that is special. It's not just, about the beauty of the distillery outside. And I think also what they're doing inside, their whiskeys, how they're creating their whiskeys, the integrity of how they're doing their whiskeys. So maybe we add in non-chill filtering, natural color, the ABV. What does it taste like? How unique is it? So there's a lot of factors that bear in here. So Springbank, it came out number 1 with all 3 of us. If you want to hang in, we can move on. That's it for OSWA. That's the top 10. We could go a little farther. So let's take a peek, number 20 with the DRAMFACE vote, and that came out Diageo Distillery, Kalila. We all love our Kalila from Islay. Isla's really been dominant here. And if I look at my number 20, I've got Glenturret. I love what they're doing. Again, similar to Springbank, a lot of old school stuff. They are, an honest, I would say, the integrity of how they're presenting their whiskeys. I actually have a 12 here. I really like this 12. Now, this is Lalique that has taken over this distillery, and I like what they're doing. It's just a really good whiskey, and knowing what is going on in that distillery is going to help them, I think, in the future. They're going to move up the list. You watch them. They'll move up the list in the votes. Let's move on here. The DRAMFACE voted Glencadam as number 9, another fantastic distillery. I think Glencadam will always be a player there. They keep doing what they're doing. Angus Dundee, the owner there. It's a lighter whiskey. It's not a big, bold, smack in your face whiskey like some of the whiskeys that we have on the list here. But boy, it's just being a gentler whiskey. It's just quite unique. Again, non-chill filtered. No coloring, etc., etc. So what did I pick? I've got Adnabmerken as 19. Now I've got a way down there. And you saw Adnabmerken come up, in the top 10 there. So I just feel it's like I've got an Adnabmerken here, an AD. It's a good whiskey. I just think there's a lot of distilleries. They've been around a long time. They got a history, and they're now starting to produce some pretty good whiskeys. Or they've always produced pretty good whiskeys. I think there is some more deserved distilleries. They're a little bit ahead of Adnabmerken, not really being critical of Adnabmerken. This is my opinion. Just there's some other distilleries that deserve a little bit of, but we put them as we got them there as number 19. So what the heck? I think that's pretty good to be in the top 19. Let's move on here. So number 18 with your DRAMFACE is Loch Lomond. And what have I got as number 18? Loch Lomond. That's coincidental, eh? Anyways, I've got a couple of really good Loch Lomond whiskeys. Man, I could have got some. I could have got a 21 there for peanuts when I was in duty free at Heathrow there. I don't know why I didn't grab it. I guess I was thinking duty, and to buy it over here, you even can get it over here. Don't worry about duty. Just grab the darn thing. It wasn't that expensive. Anyways, let's move on here. So number 17. With your DRAMFACE, hey, we're back in another Diageo. So Diageo is making you wouldn't think Diageo would be on this list, but it is. There's a lot of people that love some of these Diageo distilleries. They've got some really incredible distilleries. Clynelish. So Clynelish made number 17. I put Knockdhu. Now Knockdhu makes Anna. And to me, Anna is one of my favorite 18-year-olds. I've had their 12. I like their whiskeys. Had a chance to grab a 24. It came up at the BCL. $295. I was kind of and I let it. It's still very reasonable compared to some of the other brands. Believe you me, it's that is not over the top. It's just I'm not willing to spend it. So let's move on. We're looking now at number 16. So let's go to number 16 here. And what did they pick as number 16? The DRAMFACE vote picked Adrador as number 16. And I picked Benromach. Got a chance to see Benromach. Of course, that's Gordon MacPhail. 15. Billy Walker's Distillery, Glenallachie with the DRAMFACE vote. And I picked Glenallachie. There you are. We're in agreement. So, number 15 was Glenallachie. We're going to move on to number 14. DRAMFACE picked Craigellachie, and I've already done that. So, where did I go with number 14? I went to Glenfarclas. Why Glenfarclas? It's pretty high up the list. I think I was the only one that picked that Glenfarclas. The voters did not pick Glenfarclas in that top 20 there, but I did. I really think they, touring the distillery, having sampled their whiskey through the years, it's consistently good. And they are, I think, presenting a solid product, the product that most of the voters want. So I was kind of curious why it wasn't picked. But it's all about demographics, this vote too. So who's voting? And there's still lots of people that love Glenfarclas. So number 13 was Kilchoman with DRAMFACE, and I picked Adrador. You betcha I picked Adrador. So Kilchoman with DRAMFACE, that's what they voted. I feel that Adrador, I got a chance to see Adrador. I know what they're doing. It's again a lot like the other smaller distilleries, Glengyle and Springbank and Glen Turret, and they're trying to create things old school. So I want to support Edredor, and I do like their whiskeys. Let's move on here. Number 12. So number 12 here is their DRAMFACE 40 picked number 12 as Lefroy. Yeah, number 12 Lefroy. I mean, it's world-class distillery. What did I pick? I picked Deanston. So there you are. Deanston had to be in the top 20. That's all there is to it. So Lefroy for the DRAMFACE people, and Deanston for me. And now we're to number 11. And what did they pick? DRAMFACE, they voted Deanston. And what did I vote? Lefroy. We just switched them, that's all. So there you are. So that's it for the top 20. So you want to hang in a little longer here? I'll show you basically the next 10 here. We're just going to start with 21 here. So number 21, we have Ben Nevis. I've got number 21, Glencaddam. They've got 22 as Lagavulin. I've got number 22, Clynelish. We're looking at, let's get back over here, number 23, they've got Talisker. I've got Lagavulin. Number 24, they've got Glenfarclas. I've got Kalila. Number 25, they've got Highland Park. And I've got Mortlach. Number 26, they've got Glendronach. Boy, Glendronach would have been way up there if you'd gone back a few years. It's now placing number 26. What have I got? Number 26, Linkwood. Number 27, they've got the little distillery Davmel, which is it's kind of nice. I think Francis Cuthbert, he's a farmer. He got that distillery going with his brother. Basically, they only operate about 3, maybe 4 at the most months of the year. They use their own barley. They grow barley, and they are producing a pretty incredible whiskey. So, anyways, Davmel was number 27. I have a number 27 as Talisker. Number 28, they have Glengarrick, and I have Glengoyne. And number 29, they have Knockdhu, which I had earlier, and I have Glenmorangie. So I got Glenmorangie in there. I still think they are a player. I know they're one of the bigger distilleries, but I think they're still producing some good whiskeys. Let's look and see where we end up here, number 30. So we look at number 30. We're going to the Isle of Rassay. I was there looking across at the Isle of Rassay when I was on the Isle of Skye. And I stayed on the Isle of Skye, of course. And they picked that as number 30. What did I pick as number 30? I picked Glengarrick. So basically, I will list the last of these distilleries. I've got Highland Park, Glendronach, Balblair, Tomatin, Pulteney, Arborlore. That's different. You didn't see Arborlore there. Tamdhu, Longmorn. You didn't see Longmorn there. I am a Longmorn fan. You can see my 20 here cast strength that I got from the distillery. Speyburn, another one you didn't see. Back here, Speyburn, I do like their stuff, and of course Tomintoul, which I thought might come up, Tomintoul, because it does have unique, kind of close to Glenlivet there, but I certainly look at it with a little more integrity. Anyways, here's some sleepers for you. Royal Brackla. Royal Brackla now is really turned 180 degrees. That's another John Dewar's distillery, and they're now starting to produce whiskeys non-chill filtered. They're natural color. They're playing around with both the Oloroso casks, the PX cask, getting good reviews. So they've kind of come out of nowhere because they were always a blend. So watch Royal Brackla. They're a sleeper. The other one that really blew me away was that the Isle of Harris hasn't been mentioned. They make some incredibly good gin, my daughter's gin. When we were in Scotland, that was her gin, Isla Harris. So I do have a bottle here for her. I'm going to surprise her with. They've just presented their single malt. It's called the Herrick, and that is basically Gaelic for something from the Isle of Harris, or someone from the Isle of Harris. So it's called the Herrick, and that is got already good reviews. Certainly I'm going to have to go out and get myself a bottle of it. So the other one that I'm surprised it hasn't done a little bit better, Wolfburn, because I really like what they do with their 10-year-old. Now the 10-year-old I think it's woke up a few people to their whiskeys, because it is a good whiskey. I did not touch any of the Wolfburn until the 10 came out. It was one of the first to come out with an age statement in those newer distilleries. So keep an eye on Wolfburn. Tomor, where did that come from? Tomor, incredible piece of architecture. That distillery is a classified building. It is just changed ownership. Elixir Distillers, I think they're building Portofran on Isla. They are going to produce some good, you watch it. They're going to produce some good whiskeys out of Tomor. They're going to open up the distillery to the public for the first time in how long has that distillery been here? It dates back 60s or whatever. But anyways, those are just sleepers, ones to keep track of. That has been fun. So if you were able to hang in here with me, you can vote on the DRAMFACE top 10 I have, and I think it's going to be interesting as we're getting. It's been around long enough now that we're starting to get some interest online on the DRAMFACE vote. Their top 10 distilleries. There's been some reviewers that have actually they have made comments on it, and they are presenting what their top 10 is. I got a little carried away here. I went right to 40. We still have the OSWA voting, so it'll be interesting to see what comes up, what changes happen when they pick their top 10 distilleries. So let's wrap it up, and on that note, I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. So long, Jabba.